So, as well-intentioned as my mother was, she was very sort of stereotypically Swiss about her approach to my piano lessons. So I was forced to practice every single day. I studied the Suzuki method. I hated it. I wasn't very good at it. And I remember, that day in that fourth grade classroom so distinctly because everyone was clamoring for the popular instruments, for the violins, for, the cellos. And no one, with the exception of a couple of sort of supernaturally tall boys, were interested in the double bass. And I immediately felt drawn to it for two reasons. One, because I liked the fact that my teacher had told me that no other girl had expressed interest in playing it. And it seemed like its own kind of outlier in the orchestra, which was very much how I felt. But also because the mischievous part of me liked the idea of picking the instrument that would inconvenience my parents the most. And so that's what I did. And to my surprise, and I think to my parents' surprise, I fell deep in love with the bass. It's, too small to carry this very large instrument. So my dad would have to shuttle it around for me. And in those early years, I would have to sit on a stool in order to reach all of the places on the bass that I needed to reach. But I loved it because it's also the only instrument that you hug with your whole body when you play it, and you hear every note vibrating through your chest. And there was just this grounded feeling that I had whenever I got the chance to play it. I was in the orchestra camp and I loved it. I had gotten a scholarship to attend, and I felt like this portal had suddenly opened onto a world of possibility. I never considered playing music seriously, but I remember feeling for the first time the deep sense of satisfaction that comes when you're building a muscle and you see it getting stronger.
Isn't that remarkable?
And I could actually watch that incremental progress happening in real time. And I decided pretty much after that summer that I was going to become a double bassist. And I wanted, to play in the greatest orchestras in the world. And that was my big dream at that age. John was in the jazz camp. He was all braces and gangly limbs. And I don't think he would mind me saying this because it's how he described himself at that age, but he was just sort of shockingly, gloriously awkward. And I remember the first time I encountered him, I tried to speak to him and he was so shy that he barely said a word back. But what I remember most distinctly was the end of summer concert where all of the parents are invited to come and to pick up their children. And John played so extraordinarily, so virtuosically, despite only having played the piano for a year or two at that point, that everyone in the auditorium leapt to their feet and gave him a standing ovation, which is not something that happens at end of summer band camp recitals, And I just remember thinking, this is someone extraordinary and intriguing. And that was that.
No crushes?
No crushes.
No chemistry?
No, I think intrigue. The crush came later. The crush came about 3 years later.